Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday afternoon. Hope yours is going well. We've got another Seahawks video to get to today, but first we just hit 3,250 subscribers to the channel. I want to give a shout out to all the subscribers, and special tip of the cap goes to the channel members, especially elite channel members, Brendon, Mikel, Hasher for MVP, VGK Tiger 75, Ryguy, Salacious, Crumb, Brendan Nelson's Haircut, 12th Man, ItsHoof, The Reno, Austin Roberts, Scott Todd, TVO, and PH Glass. We are almost there, guys. Two more positions, and we will have done all we can do in the 2021 draft scouting department. So today we're going to be taking a look at SAM Linebacker, and this is a position where we might have coverage and we might not. It's really kind of hard to say right now. It's almost like Schrodinger's cat or something. It's really hard to say if we're just good at SAM Linebacker or we have a little bit of a need here. So let's talk about it, run it down, and try to come to a reasonable determination. So SAM Linebacker, which is a strong side linebacker, with KJ Wright likely not returning, as of right now still a free agent, and Bruce Irvin retiring. As far as I know, he's decided to retire. A new SAM linebacker is needed in 2021. Now, the reason why SAM linebacker isn't that big of a deal is that, especially if we play defense the way we should, they should only play about 20 to 25 snaps per game. And a SAM linebacker will do a mix of rushing the passer, dropping back into coverage, and, of course, playing the run. That's how we were going to use Bruce Irvin last year. That's how we ended up using KJ Wright last year. Now, as of right now, there are two guys on the roster who could possibly handle SAM linebacker snaps. We have Darrell Taylor, who I have already made a video about, that he may be able to handle the role, but it's unclear. And if he gets the starting role at SAM linebacker and proves that he cannot handle it, and things are just going bad after a month, maybe 2 months, you do maybe want to have somebody on the roster who can do it in the short term while Taylor figures out how to do it, because he's basically a rookie this year. It's also possible that Aldon Smith can play some of it if he gets cleared, but it's unclear. We don't know how much he weighs right now. We don't know what kind of shape he's in. We don't know if he's going to be fast enough or quick enough or good enough in coverage. So as of right now, we have two guys who might be able to play some snaps at linebacker. I'll even be really nice and throw Benson Mayowa out there, but we don't know for sure if any of them can do it. So you can make a compelling argument that we could use somebody on this roster who we know can do it. I would like to believe we can handle it between Taylor and Aldon Smith, but we don't even know if Aldon Smith's going to be able to play football this year at all. We don't know if he's ever going to play football again. So something to consider. It's at least arguable we need someone to fill the role. So I took a look at some prospects who have a chance to be available after the top 100 picks. So 4th round and on, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and undrafted. So 5 guys. Let's just go ahead and jump in, starting with prospect number 1. Chazz Surratt of North Carolina. I'm probably being overly optimistic here, but I like this guy a lot. He's very intriguing to me, and I can't help myself. So the outside possibility of him being available in the 4th round has me talking about him, even though, honestly, he's probably going to go in the 3rd, if I had to guess, late 3rd. So Chazz Surratt, he's 24 years old. I'm sorry, 24 years old. Geez. 6'2", 227 pounds, 4.59 40. So he's got good size, good speed. He's a good all-around linebacker prospect. He only has 2 years at the position, and he's proven he can kind of do it all. 2019, he had 115 tackles, 66 solo, 15 tackles for loss. Great against the run, 6.5 sacks, great rushing the passer, and 1 interception. 2020, he kind of changed roles a little bit in the North Carolina defense. He had 91 tackles, 49 solo, 7.5 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, still a great pass rusher, and 1 interception. Now, a lot of the draft prognosticators say he's going to go in the 2nd round or 3rd round. ESPN loves him and thinks he'll go in the 2nd. Walter Football thinks he'll go in the second to third. Sporting News and Tankathon say third. Pro Football Focus says late third to early fourth. PFN and the Draft Network kind of say the same thing. They think he'll probably be an early fourth round pick, like right at the start of day 3. So probably out of range if we're being real here. But I like this guy a lot, and I want to talk about him, even though there's only a small chance he'll be available to us in the fourth and beyond. So here's what I can say about him. Interesting player. He played quarterback for 2 years before switching to linebacker. He was the quarterback at North Carolina when quarterback wasn't working out for him. He almost transferred out to another school, but they decided to just move him to another position. He was dominant against the run and rushing the quarterback in 2019, as the stats prove. And he also became a much better coverage player in 2020. So he became a really well-rounded and really capable linebacker prospect all around. And as a Sam, you do have to do all 3 things pretty well, I think. He has all of the physical tools to be great. He's still raw with a lot to learn at the position, but I look at that as a positive thing because we're not going to need him that much in 2021 probably. So he can pick some stuff up about how to play linebacker in his rookie year and get on the field some, and then slowly work himself into a bigger role in 2022. So we have the time to wait for him to get better. And the fact that he can get better despite having 2 really good years is exciting. He has the potential to be a great pursuit linebacker in the NFL. When I watched him play, one thing that stuck out to me was he was constantly put in QB spy situations where he would watch the quarterback from around the line of scrimmage, and then as soon as the play broke down or the QB took off to one side, he would just heat-sinking missile. And I know that's kind of how we're probably going to use Jordan Brooks, but it's good to have more than one guy who can really chase down a mobile quarterback. We do play in the same division as Kyler Murray, and might be about to be in the same division as Justin Fields. He might also project to Will after he learns the game more, and that's important too. And we'll talk about Will linebacker tomorrow, but if we could get somebody who can play Sam now and Will later, that's valuable. I think that if we can do something like that, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. He does have some minor tackling issues, but I think that has more to do with the fact that he still has stuff to learn at the position. So I really like Chazz Surratt. I also really suspect he's going to be well gone before we can even consider taking another linebacker. But great prospect, very interesting to me. All right, that's prospect number 1. Let's go to prospect number 2. Dylan Moses of Alabama. And this guy might be in the same boat as Chazz in that I'm really intrigued by him, but it's a split decision on whether or not he'll be available after the top 100. So let's take a look. 22 years old, 6'3", 235 pounds. What a nice frame for a linebacker, man. This guy's bigger than most of the guys I'm looking at here. 4.4640. Look at that speed. 4.4640 from a SAM linebacker. That's exciting. That's pretty exciting. As exciting as you can be for a SAM linebacker. He has 3 seasons on his record. He missed 2019 with a major injury, which is a little bit of a red flag, but 2017 he was a part-time player, 30 tackles, 5.5 for loss, 1.5 sacks, 1 pick. 2018, first full season, very nice, 86 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. 2020, 76 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 pick, 1 forced fumble. So pretty solid all-around college football career. One thing I'm going to go ahead and admit here, in 2020 he was coming off a major injury, and I watched him play. I watched his highlights a bunch. I watched some tape of him. I was not that impressed compared to somebody like Chazz. And one thing that a lot of people seem to think is that the injury caused him to not play at his fullest potential in 2020. And if he can fully 100% recover from his major injury in 2019, he can come back stronger than that. So you are kind of betting on that if you take Dylan Moses, but I believe he was probably a better player a few years ago. Now, the draft experts are all over the place on Dylan Moses. I have no idea if we're going to be able to get him or not. Sporting News loves him. Pro Football Network loves him. They both think he's a second-round pick. Tankathon says mid-third. Walter Football says third to fourth. And if those are the case, we probably can't get him. But ESPN says mid fourth, Draft Network says mid fourth, Pro Football Focus says sixth round. So this is all over the place, and I don't know who to believe. Um, if these top three are on, then I don't think we're going to be able to get him because I don't think we can spend a top 100 pick on a linebacker at all, especially a Sam who's only going to be on the field 25 to 30% of the time. If these guys are right, then we could get him. I think taking a linebacker in this range, especially one like Dylan Moses, is reasonable. So, split decision, we'll have to see. But anyway, he's got a ton of NCAA experience at all three linebacker positions. He played Mike, Sam, and Will. And I know he only played 3 full seasons, but he proved that he could do all three quite well. He's very athletic. He's always around the ball. He uses his 4.46 time well. He's got long arms, which help him make a lot of plays on the ball in coverage and just tackling in general. He might not be done growing into his physique. I mean, he's pretty tall. He's already got some weight to him, but he might still have a little bit of growing to do. So don't count that out. And he might be a even stronger physical prospect than we give him credit for right now. He's got sideline to sideline range. He can make a play anywhere on the field. He's very aggressive while maintaining good technique. He knows how to just spot the ball and go like a heat sinking missile. I saw him used as a QB spy a good amount as well. He's got pretty decent instincts. He's a very hard hitter. He does not have a like a dial on his hit power. He either hits hard or he doesn't hit at all. He's a great tackler. As a linebacker prospect, I don't have too much bad to say about him outside of the fact that the injury may have robbed him of at least a little bit of his potential, but time will tell on that. And this is another guy who might be able to play Sam and Will. And we're about to have a potential need at Will. So I take that very seriously. So this is a guy who, if we got him, might play Sam as a rookie and then move to Will going forward. All right, so those are two guys who have a decent chance to be out of range for the Seahawks. So let's move to three guys who are definitely going to be in range in the later rounds. So prospect number 2 in the books. Let's do number 3. This is Justin Hilliard of Ohio State. And this is an interesting guy in that he was never a starter at the college level because Ohio State has such good linebackers. 6'1", 227 pounds, 4.81 40 times. So physically, not the most exciting guy. The 4.81 40 is noticeably slower than most of the prospects we looked at. He's a little shorter than the average prospect, if that means anything to you. His college career, his best season was 2020, where he had 33 tackles, 5 for loss, 1 interception, a pass deflection, and 3 fumble recoveries. He never really was a full-time starter. Last year, he was the number 4 linebacker for Ohio State. So it's kind of a Marvin Williams situation where you look at him and you see the talent, but you also know he didn't even start in college. So you don't know if he's going to be able to start in the NFL. 2018, he had 20 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections. 2019, he had 13, 3 tackles for loss, 1 interception. These are not really impressive stats. So, again, Marvin Williams. Despite never starting really in the college football game, he's got a 4th-round grade from Pro Football Focus, 5th-round grade from ESPN, Draft Network, and Pro Football Network say 7th round to undrafted, and Walter Football says undrafted. I think he's probably going to be 5th to 6th round, maybe 7th. He might slip through because of his lack of playing time in college. But I kind of like this guy for what he is, which is a late round project. He never really, like I said, he played behind a Werner, Browning, and Borland in 2020. 3 really good linebacker prospects. So it's not totally his fault. OSU was just stacked at linebacker. He projects well as a SAM linebacker with the versatile skill set to fill multiple roles as one. I can't play the footage for obvious reasons, but go look at the interception he had in 2020. That was a very impressive play for a linebacker. He lined up at cornerback in the red zone, and the other team threw a goal line fade up, and he just went up and got it before the receiver could. It was very impressive to me. You don't see linebackers make that play that often, so it looks like he can cover, and I think he also has the ability to play the run that you're looking for in a SAM. He's good at aggressively attacking plays downhill. He made some big plays in crucial moments for OSU despite not getting on the field that much. He made some game-changing plays. At worst, if you're getting Justin Hilliard because he's a good tackler, you should be getting a good special teams player. Even if he never gets on the field on defense, you should at least be getting a Cody Barton. But unlike Cody Barton, who was a third round pick, you can get this guy in maybe the sixth round. So at worst, you're at least getting that. So Justin Hilliard is another Sam linebacker prospect who I'm into. Definitely keeping an eye on him in late day 3 and maybe even after that. All right, that was prospect number 3. Let's go to prospect number 4. And I'm not even going to try this guy's name. It's Amen. His first name is Amen, and last name is Ogbongbemiga. I think we did it, but I couldn't do it unless I was looking at it. Sorry. 22 years old, Oklahoma State, the Cowboys. 6 feet flat, 225 pounds, 4.6, 240. Little shorter than some of the other guys we've been looking at, but he's got a pretty good 40 time, so I think the frame is okay. 2017, 2018, he didn't play that much. 16 tackles, 1.5 for loss, and 12 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, and 1 fumble recovery. 2019, he broke out 100 tackles, 15.5 tackles for loss. Really great stuff against the run. 5 sacks. He was also a great pass rusher and 1 pick. 2020, 80 tackles, 5 tackles for loss. I think his role changed in 2020. 2.5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. So this guy was very productive these last 2 years at Oklahoma State, and he proved he was versatile as well. He could play the run and rush the passer. Walter Football really likes him. They think he'll be a 3rd to 5th round pick. Everyone else thinks he's going to be a 7th rounder or undrafted. So that's probably the case. You're probably going to be able to get this guy in the 7th round or day 4 on undrafted. So as for Amen, he's very good at operating in space. He's a great attacker of the ball carrier. He's somebody who you can have hanging back, reading the play, and then he just bolts to whoever gets the ball. At worst, again, this is another guy, excellent special teamer. At worst, if you get this guy, you're getting Cody Barton. And again, that's fine if you get him in the 7th round or in UDFA. He's at his best against the run, I think. 2019 showed that. He was able to get 15.5 tackles for loss against the run and 100 tackles total. Really, really good stuff there. He's athletic enough to cover the field and chase down plays. He might be able to play the will linebacker as well at some point. I think the skill set might be there for him to move to will at some point. We'll see what happens if we get him. The only negative I could find on Amen is that he's not very good in coverage yet. That's the one hole in his skill set, which is why I kind of want him to be a Sam, because as a Sam, you don't have to cover that much. So this is a very intriguing prospect to me. Pound for pound, in terms of where you would get him in the draft, because you might not have to draft him at all, might be my favorite guy of these 5. Of course, I like Chazz Surratt more, but relative to where you would get them, I really like Amen a lot. So that's prospect number 4. Let's go to prospect number 5. This is Riley Cole of the South Alabama Jaguars. Smaller school here. Somebody who probably won't get drafted, but I'm intrigued by his talent set. 23 years old, 6'3", 242 pounds. He's got good size. 40 time is kind of 4.7. But he makes plays on the field despite his lack of speed. Part-time player in 2016. 2017 kind of broke out with 55 tackles, 2.5 for loss. 2018, I think he got hurt and barely played. 2019, broke back out again. 59 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble. Very impressive. 2020 was his full breakout season. 96 tackles, 54 solo. 6.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. He played a very nice role for that South Alabama defense. The only site that I could find that thinks he's going to get drafted is Walter Football. Everyone else says undrafted. So you're probably going to be able to get this guy undrafted. So he has the intelligence, the savvy, and the grit to find a role in the NFL. He's not afraid to do the dirty work. He's smart enough to know where he should be. He's smart enough to put him in good positions to succeed. At worst, he should be able to get a job in the NFL just with that, even if it's just on a practice squad or something. He possesses the NFL knowledge, the football knowledge to at least play some snaps at linebacker. I think he has at least a little bit of a future on NFL defenses. There are some holes in his skill set, but I think he's smart enough to make it at least some at linebacker. And as a Sam, you only need to play it like 20-25 snaps a game. So I think that works pretty well. He had a career year in 2020 despite being asked to play outside of his natural position. In 2020, he moved, I think, from the Sam to the Will and actually had a career year, even though it's understood that he will be best as a Sam linebacker. So that shows some mental fortitude to me. Now, he is a marginal athlete. Admittedly, he doesn't have a great athletic profile, like I already kind of went over. He's got two season ending injuries in his ledger, and his staying power in the NFL will ultimately depend on his special teams ability, which is supposed to be quite good, but it's unclear if he'll have that much value as an NFL defensive player. So that's Riley Cole, and when you get down to prospects like this, who are probably not going to get drafted, it's probably time to move on. So that's prospect number 5, and that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to get out of here. Peace out. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think in the comments of these Sam linebacker prospects. These are the 5 who caught my eye. Only 3 of them are likely to be in range for the Seahawks, but regardless, we might need some help there. I think it's worth talking about. I'm going to cover the other linebacker spot tomorrow, but until then, see you guys later. Peace out. Go Hawks. See you guys in stream.